everything else. you this. Hello everyone, I hope you can hear me. Please, as usual, let me know in the chat. So if I see a message in the chat that you can hear me, then I know you can. If I don't see it, then, well, I don't know anything. So that will be extremely useful. So today we are going to do a great experiment of having remote people through Skype, Magic, Internet, and other stuff joining and present their stuff, so hopefully that will all go wrong horribly, and then I will have to wing it and do something completely different. So if it does, it does what we can do. But if it works, even great, I'll be very happy. Apart from that, I want to show you a few things that just connected to last session and talk about that. So after I have a little 10-20 minute introduction, I will then have Jesus joining us, I think from Spain, online to show his task, what he is doing. Then after that we should have Marine from Netherlands, and then Luana, who is here, and then Mo, maybe, or maybe not, we'll see. It's a mysterious one to see is he going to join. So it's going to be either very successful or very horrible session. So let's dive right in. So, c'est moi, he says something in a chat, so, but I don't know, does he hear me? So hopefully you can see my screen on the chat and here. So we talked about mobile view controller, but basically the session was about standards, So we as developers, we want to have certain standards, how we write our code, so it's easy to understand, easy to follow, not just for others who can read our code, but also for people who are for ourselves, because quite often it happens that you have to revisit the code that you wrote 6 months ago and you have no idea what it all means, at the time it seems like everything was clear. 6 months later, what the hell was I doing, So it's very important to be able to write stuff properly, okay? And we can adopt any standards. We can agree that we will write our code in Cleon language if that's what everybody here likes. But maybe it's better to actually have some other standards. So on our documentation, and again, I need to share this online with everyone at some point when I manage to find time. We have some documents about coding standards, okay? And let me show you briefly what this all means. So there are 3 documents. One is PHP, but this PHP can be applied to most things, okay? And HTML is slightly different, and commenting is, this is like a common sense one, So if you are writing in PHP or any similar language like C or JavaScript, and so on, this tells you, okay, what is the purpose, okay? So first of all, it tells you about visuals. It has to be easy to read. So if I can write the whole big application all in one line, okay, but nobody will be able to read because they have to scroll right and left forever. So we want to make it easily readable and understand, okay, what it is. So, and then of course we need to have consistency. We can't change our style every 5 minutes, so, and this is something that, as I say, becomes a habit, okay? So if you learn it wrong to start with, it's going to be horrible and very hard to correct later on, okay? So there are standards online, and we choose to follow these PSR2 standards. So even if you don't have this document, you can go online and check them and see what this is all about, okay? So So basically, it tells you pretty much everything what you need to put in every single file, line by line, okay? So, and it has some information like new line, character 10, which you might not know what that is, okay? Now this is really confusing for new people. It's just basically every new line you press enter, okay? But there are alternatives to enter that you can go to the new line, and that would achieve the same, but it might break your code, okay? It has to be encoded in UTF-8, okay? So we can't write in some very weird script language using, variables that use Croatian or Swedish or German signs with those dots and circles and stuff like that above, that's not going to work properly on most machines, okay? So this is why we use English characters and letters, not some weird ones. And then it tells you, structure your code with certain tabs, okay? So on your keyboard you have a tab key, and I'm very surprised that lots of people don't know what tab key is. So this is the one next to Q letter. When you press it, it makes this jump, okay? So you don't press space, 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 and do it that way, okay? Again, very important is the naming of everything. And this tells you how to name vendors, packages, classes, okay, files, etc. Okay, so this is, if you have a controller, how do you name controller? Okay, so this tells you this is how you should do it. Okay, it's not, your code is not going to work if you don't do it like this. Okay, it's just going to be So as I say, everything here goes pretty much, this covers everything that you could think of writing, okay? So methods, so C methods, all of methods should start with lowercase, and then every other word should have a capital case, okay? So if you are using methods or functions, in this should look like that, okay? Variables, what I said last time, again, it's a similar lower camel case, that's the name of this thing, similar, but again, use them so they describe what they are holding, okay? So if I say a lot of HTML code, okay, is much better named than CX, okay? I don't know what CX is. It can be a lot of HTML code, but it can be, my age. So special exception is when you use variables like $I, J and K, if you have a for loop for some reason, so these are typically used there, so, but otherwise we use long and descriptive names of variables in the correct lower camel case type of writing. But all capitals, all uppercase is constant. So if you ever see everything written in PHP in all capitals, it is constant. And again, same thing, you can apply exactly the same logic to JavaScript, that will be quite good, okay? Strings, same thing. And this comes a little bit later, what we are going to do is when you make changes on your code and everything is working fine, you want to push it to the repository so you share it with all the other people. But when you push it and share it, you can't just say, my work or update. I don't know what you pushed, so it has to be, what are you doing? You have to describe, is it a new feature, or did you fix a bug, or is it a security issue, or did you finish certain task, so we know what it is, or is it just a work in progress? Because sometimes we need to push stuff, it's not finished, but it's work in progress, okay? So it's important to know that, and it gives you examples of good and bad stuff, like, yeah, I fixed bug. Yeah, did you really? Which one? Okay, I have no idea, okay? So as I said, lots of this is common sense, but read this, and if you are not sure, you can always go back to this documentation and check how to write stuff, okay? It gives you a little bit, again, documentation how to create comments, but there is another document on comments, so you can do that too. And it goes on and on, so I won't do too much about it, okay? If I go to the next document, okay, and next document will be about HTML coding standards, okay? Again, it tells you if you want to, how do you call the files? How do you define, you know, is it your HTML, you need to specify a language, you need to specify encoding of your HTML, which again is this UTF-8, so we don't have weird characters in it or unused. And of course, you have to include all the tags like head and body and so on. Again, we are using tab in lines 4, 5, and 6. So to move this, so I know that everything here, I can see it visually, this part is inside head, closed head. So I can see that, you know, I can see the part of the code. If I have a comments in HTML and other languages might be using different symbols, you know, so they have this less than, exclamation mark, and so on. But one good thing in VS Code is if you press Ctrl/, okay, or Mac command/ on that line or selected lines, it will comment them automatically in the correct format. So if you are doing HTML, it will insert these, but if you do command/ or Ctrl/ in PHP, it will do different comments, so the code will be commented out properly, and typically if you didn't change the stuff, it's going to be in a green color. Okay, so it says, okay, well, yes, you can make a comment like this, but don't. Okay, make it like this. This is one line comment, you know, but, you know, here they also say put a little spaces between, okay? See, this is correct, this is incorrect, okay? It's a bad habit to type it like this. I probably do it all the time, okay? But, as I said, you know, if you learn it correctly, then you will always do it properly, all right? Now this is saying if I have a div main wrapper, all right, and then I close that div, okay, it's good to put the comment at the end, which ID, which class I'm closing, and this is a correct way of doing that, okay? Now, if you ever open the HTML document, you know that you have 5,000 divs and it's huge and long, and then the main wrapper starts at the top, and then somewhere down the line you have a bottom one, but you say close 16 divs, and you're like, oh my God, which one is which? Well, if you put a comment when you created it, you will know which one it is which, so it's useful, okay? And so on, if you are formatting stuff, you know, so it says, yes, this will work perfectly, but don't do it. Why? It tells you, because somebody put a couple of spaces here instead of one tab, okay? So, and you can see how this is, looks nice on a first rule, but this is incorrect, okay? So you don't have to, they say don't do the head, okay? Don't do this one, okay? It makes no sense because obviously your whole page is going to be inside of this head and body. So it's common sense, you know, why should I just move everything on my screen straight away, one tab, you know, so head and body should be like this, and then inside, you know, the main div is like the same thing, okay? And then we start going right with the formatting. while I can make a list like this, it's great, but I can't read this. I don't see that this is even a list. If you put a list like that, much easier to read, much easier to find what it is, and so on. And same thing with the table, you know. So yes, while we can do this, and it will work, you know, there are no correct things. One thing what's, and this is especially important in Python, okay? Python has these issues with white spaces, so white spaces mean something in Python. And if you add ones which they shouldn't be, and so on, you might break the code. So we typically copy paste stuff from internet, and we like to select, you know, we select big block, including some white spaces, and then we paste that, you know, so we ended up with trailing spaces after our code, which is not going to break it, okay? You won't see it, but it's wrong, so try to avoid them, and so on. And et cetera, you know, so one of the things, this is what I keep doing. I don't know why I do this all the time, but if I put this BR, I put this slash, okay? So this is a self-closing element, so it doesn't open and close like others. It doesn't need a slash, you know, so doesn't break the code. It still does what it's supposed to do, but there's no need for that, you know. As such, you know. So it goes on and on, where to put attributes, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not going to read all of these and show you, but I'm just giving you some of the examples and the level of details where we are talking about what is correct, what is incorrect, you know. And when I look at your code, I will, first of all, jump at this, you know. I don't care is it working or not working. I care about, did you write it using correct standards, okay? And this commenting is, as I say, common sense, all right? So, and I want to show you this. The rabbit ran 100, okay? 100 what? Okay? I don't know what 100 means, okay? Does it mean minutes, meters, what, stuff like that. So if I put a comment, rabbit has to run 100 meters, then 100 is perfectly clear what that is. It's 100 meters. So if I want to change it to 50 meters, I know what to do, okay? But if I wanted to change this to 50 centimeters, I couldn't, because I don't know it's 100 seconds or, you know. So this makes perfect sense. However, if you do the same thing here, define meters is 100 and run meters, it's obvious, okay, that this 100 is meters and the rabbit runs in meters, so I can change it to 50. So, see, why should I comment this? Well, I shouldn't, you know, because it's so self-explanatory, okay? So basically, we are not going to comment every single line of text that we, of code that we are putting just for sake of commenting. That's not the purpose of this, okay? But explaining the stuff, okay? So we know what values, what variables, what functions are doing, okay? If I have a function, what sort of stuff I can pass in that function and what that function will do, because if it's not clear, you know, then, you know. So I don't need comment here, run in meters, run in seconds, okay? I don't need comments, all right? So, another examples, you know, cut the carrot in 4 pieces, and then you divide carrot by 4, okay? Let the rabbit eat all the pieces of carrot one by one. And then you say, for each pieces of carrot, rabbit eat piece, okay? And then you put additional comment to just to explain that just rabbit now ate a piece, okay? I understand this from the code because this person used a good variable names, Okay, so the code is quite readable, and these comments are actually making it less readable. Okay, so this is cleaner version of the same code. Yeah, and you know, so. So, as I said, this is a good document to read and see, you know, would you apply common sense? Would you not apply common sense? If you are not sure, what do you think is better, to make a comment or not? Comment, exactly, you know, so comments don't hurt, okay? And what I typically do when I am writing a new code, I put comments first. I explain to myself what are the steps that I'm going to do, you know, before I start coding, you know, so I have some sort of structure. Here I'm going to get user, and with that user I'm going to find its name, with that name I'm going to print it on the screen, or check is the name, I don't know, Andre. If it is, then give him a slap or something like that, you know. So I can write that exactly like I said it, okay, and then type these commands. But if I see that, you know, when my code is basically saying exactly like that, I can remove those comments, I can take them out, okay? But I can leave, if the function is slap user, I can say this is the function that I use to give somebody, you know. So it goes on and on and on and on. Again, it's something worth reading. Now, if you are using a certain type of formatting of these comments, okay, and you stick to that type, and this Laravel has built in, and many others have similar built in. I can run one command on my code, and it will generate the documentation, okay? So let's say I make 100 APIs, okay? And now I need to document and publish this online, how my APIs are working, what do you need to pass on, what sort of variables. I can actually put the comments as I'm writing this, and when I finish writing, I say generate documentation, one button, boom, there go, everything is in place. So it lists all the API calls, all the functions, all the variables that you pass in, all the results that you're getting, and so on. So sometimes it's very good to, you know, especially if you think, I need to write documentation after this, you know, especially for the APIs, you know, it is good to know that if we adhere to these standards, our life is going to be much easier. Otherwise, you have to open a Word document and type it one by one, you know, which is not very hard. Just so time consuming. Okay, so that is me talking about coding standards a little bit, you know, so if we adhere to the coding standards that we all agree, we will understand each other much better, and our code and life is going to be much easier, okay? This is very important. I keep saying about this because I know from experience people don't do that, and then we have horrible, horrible misunderstandings and issues and code breaks and all sorts of stuff, okay? So please, please, please do read these, and if you have any questions, do ask, you know, if you are not sure, again, do ask. All clear? Okay. So now would be the time to switch to our first user, okay? So how is that going to work? I haven't got a clue. So you guys in the room should see this screen. So we have Jesus, who is going to go first. And, you know, I can do this. Okay, Jesus, are you ready? Can you unmute and share your screen?
Yes, hello. Don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Hi. Hello?
I can't hear a word if you are saying something, and you are not sharing your screen right now.
Hello?
No. I was muted too, so Jesus probably didn't hear me. So Jesus, can you share your screen, please? And
Yes. I was
give
trying
us a
to
test sound.
Okay.
Okay, they can hear him on the stream, which is great, but not in the office yet.
Okay. So I can hear you well.
Okay, let me just check something on Skype. Where is the sound going? Sound is going to the Bluetooth speakers, which probably have died.
But you hear me, right, Andre?
It's so funny because it worked 3 minutes ago. So let me test the YouTube speakers really quickly. Okay, blah blah blah, whatever, some sound.
His largest Toyota, it was pretty ambitious. 15 of the lot would be purely electric.
Okay, well, I can hear you on my laptop speakers, so let's try that. Okay?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, can you show us, please, and I will try to fix the speakers for the next guy. Can you show us tell us what was your task first of all, and then let's see what have you done so far.
Okay. So my task was, well, I was required to get the conditions A to Z of the articles from the NHS, from the website of the National Health Security from UK. And well, first of all, I tried to make sure that I understood completely the task, because I didn't want, to go ahead without having get the purpose.
So this is really great that you just said that, okay? Okay. I'm very happy that you said that. I'm not sure that I understood the task. Okay. And what action did you do after that?
Well, so I wrote Hamed, because well, since he was the one who gave me the assigned the task, on the deck.
Okay.
I went to him and like politely, I asked him if I understood correctly the task. Then I explained him what I got so far, and he said, "No way, you are really lost," So.
Okay, so this is very important point, okay? The task that you are given, you have to understand perfectly what it means. And that's typically never the case. They say, hey, can you fix that bug on the backend? You know the one. He's like, yeah. Go home is like, what backend, what bug, what is he talking about? I have no clue. So I need to call the guy. Or I can just assume which bug he meant, so I can fix it. And then he's like, no, I didn't mean that. Okay? The best example of this happened with my designer. Okay? So I said, hey, can you develop the complete design for this web page,
okay,
which he did. He only didn't hear me saying web page. So he made a complete design for the mobile phone. So I had a lovely mobile application which nobody asked for.
He spent
like
a
a
month
month
working
working
on
on
that.
that.
I was like, that's beautiful.
What the hell is this? Okay.
So
Communication is really important. So thank you very much for reminding me of this, because I just made a very, very strong point. So you have to understand exactly what your task is. Don't start your task if it's not clear.
Okay?
Okay? But carry on. What happened next?
Yes, that's it. And then once Hamed explained me that what I really needed to do was call the NHS APIs or APIs to get all the articles again and store them back in the database, you know. So then once having that clear, I tried to make my way. So first thing I considered was navigating to the NHS main site, which is this one.
Okay.
This. Okay. There's like a section for developers, as you can see here. You can go developer .api .nhs, etc. And gives you here some instructions on how to go.
So
Jesus.
Yes.
This
This is beautiful because you
went to the documentation, official documentation. This is where I want people to go.
You know, this is really good point. Okay, so you are at the right place. Okay, fair enough. But what did you learn from this?
Well, I was following the instructions how to get to the point I was trying to aim at, and by following and scrolling down, I got to something which was similar to what was trying to get from the site, which is this, you know, the health A to Z API.
Okay.
So going on, I learned that I had, first of all, to register. I had to create an account, a user. Then from that user, I was going to be entitled to consult, to use those APIs. So they provide you with something like this. You know, this is like your profile here, details, etc., credentials, name, blah, 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 and then subscriptions. This is very important because without this, you cannot make use of the API, you know, the protocol and the interface.
So this is a quite cool thing.
Okay.
Of course, you couldn't know this,
but
we can go to these sites like this and register without personal details.
Okay, and in most cases it will work. Okay, but we actually don't do that.
Okay, because we
don't want to register as individual Jesus who leaves the company tomorrow, and then we don't have all these accesses and stuff like that to the as a company. Okay, and especially if they are paid APIs, then you don't want to pay for them yourself. Okay, so we don't typically register as individual. We try to register as a company, and all these API keys, primary key, secondary key, whatever they give to us, we have to document somewhere, store it securely. Okay, this is very important when we are dealing with APIs, keys, and so on. Okay, and the last thing that you didn't know is that we already have account with NHS. Okay, that you didn't have to register, that you could have used our already approved thing, because sometimes these guys don't approve you same day, and you have to wait 3 days for the approval or whatever. Not, you don't need that. Because if we already went through that process, okay? So another little lesson learned. Carry on. Okay, good. So you got the subscription and personal details. So you got the accounts.
Yeah, so I guess I went like too freely here, trying to register with my like account persona. But okay, so I succeeded at this. I didn't check if there was an account or like a corporative or something like that. Now I know. Well, once I got this, what I needed to do was finding the actual API. The actual link to put or to add to my code in order to check the data. So here explains quite interestingly what you need to follow, like quick start here, like you pick the page, it gives you some examples like the acne, there are some others, then how to proceed, more examples here, etc., so on and so forth, until I arrived to find somewhere the API I needed. What was this one? Okay, so this. I don't know if you can see it well, or you need me to zoom in.
It's fine. I think
Okay.
we see it too.
Okay. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. So by using this, I would be able to call this API and extract the data back to my database, allegedly. So then I found out there were like 3 options to do this. One was by trying Postman. Okay, this. Then there was another terminal curl, like employing the terminal and some commands, and by using front end, like employing the front end using code. So here is where I slammed myself, because well, if I went by just putting the API in the get directions box and sending, so let's say no headers here, send, I was getting an error. Okay, status code 401 access denied, because you need the subscription key, you need your credentials.
Yep.
So I didn't know this. I had to check it on the internet, look again through the documentation, what was telling me. And I found out that additionally needed to put the credentials in the headers here. So at first it worked when I introduced the credentials, key and value. I could have used this one, which is I think the first one, but also probably the second one. So at first, with the first example, it worked, but like later on, don't know why, it crashed. I mean, if I validate the key, and go send, gives me another error, which is invalid character in header comment. So doesn't like it. You can view in console here, but it's gonna give you the same. It's gonna give you same outcome, no matter how many times you send it. There's something wrong, doesn't like it, so it simply rejects you to access to the information, to the data.
Okay.
So what to do?
So this is where you got stuck. Yep.
Yeah. In Postman, I got stuck. So then I said to myself, okay, there were 2 left options to try. So I tried by using terminal curl, but didn't work either.
Okay.
So went here, tried to put, you know, the curl with
that is, so we have a lovely graphical interface postman, or we can use a terminal which is much harder to decipher, it does the same thing, at the end of the day, but this one gives us easier options, okay? So yeah, so first of all, the API, okay? So we have an NHS website that you just briefly showed to us, okay? Which displays the information, okay? So I can get this conditions displayed on the website, okay? But if I want just the data, I don't want the page, I don't want the graphics, I don't want, the logos and stuff like that. Just give me this data, okay? So I need to call the thing called API, which is again same thing, like I'm calling HTTP whatever URL to get the front page, I can call the HTTP whatever to get just the data. So then it gives me just the data, okay? So this is what the APIs are for. Of course, they are not going to give the data to anybody who requests them. You have to be authorized, or sometimes you have to pay, okay? So you have to create your credentials. So what we have to do when we send our request to them, we have to send it in correct format, okay? So this is the key thing. We have to send them in correct format, all right? And with that data, we have to pass some sort of information, okay? And we have to pass that information, and once we pass that information, we got response, okay? Now, again, this can be whatever we want, okay? When I'm building APIs, I can give any response, okay? I can say, hello, welcome to my API, how are you, mate, let's go out for a drink, okay? That can be a response, but that's not a very good response. So typically, we give a code, an error message, or just a message, and then we have some data. So we give as a response three things. If we give code to 100, that's typically what we use to say everything is okay. That message would be everything is okay, or just okay. And with code 200, I can give the information, the data, which is quite often in JSON format, okay? Could be in others, but let's say that's that. So if I get 200, when I call this API, my code can check what is the code. If the code is 200, then I got the data. Then I can do stuff with that data, like store it in the database. But if I don't get 200, if I get 400s or 500s, okay, then I have a different problem. So 400s are typically telling me I did something wrong as a developer. So either I didn't enter the key, or I didn't use the right format that they want me to use it, and so on. So 400s are mistakes that I, as a user who is using the API, made a mistake, and they are telling me what to fix, okay? If I get 500, then probably I made okay call, but there is a server error, so something went wrong on their side. And in this case, I would be, if I really need this API, I would call these guys or send them an email and say, hey, I'm getting error 500, can you fix your stuff? Okay? So now that we know what the APIs are for, how do we call them? Okay, so typically Linux has this curl command which allows you to call API. But there are other ways to call the APIs as well, and this Postman program supports all of those ways. So if you are ever going to make this, once you have it up and running, it will actually give you the code in a programming language of your choice. Okay. So you can just copy paste it, and that's that. Okay. So now the thing is that some requests are get, some requests are post. Okay, so this is a typically first mistake, and then there are other types of requests as you see from this drop-down. Okay, so you are calling the URL / conditions. Okay, so can you show me the documentation for the conditions? Okay.
Yes.
So
you got, for example, here endpoints and parameters.
Yep. Yeah, but this says /condition / acne. Okay, but I just want to see where is that conditions just on its own. So health A to Z APIs documentation. Click on that. No, not the website. Okay.
So not here.
NHS API documentation, yes.
Okay. Is this?
Yeah. And this is the holder documentation, so we know that we want health A to Z documentation for health to Z API. So that's the link. Okay.
Yeah, but it takes you here.
So base URL, so this says every single one here will have this base URL. Okay? You can supply API version as additional parameter. Okay? You have to put subscription key header with a valid subscription key. Okay? All right? Scroll down. And then you have a health topic. Okay? So we can say / whatever to get the health topic. Okay? So basically this says, okay, this is not exactly, so /acne / diabetes / whatever will do that. Okay? So we need to put the endpoint. Okay? So some APIs, says here, have more than one endpoint. Okay? So if you scroll down, so index. Okay, so endpoint is nothing, so it's just / conditions. Okay, so this will give you a list of all the hopefully parameters that we have, all right? So a list of all conditions, okay? But probably not exactly, because see, what it wants you to pass is, or what is optional to pass, is number of things, okay? So for example, because there are 3,000 conditions, we are not going to make one API call and get 3,000 pieces of information. That's going to be too big. Okay, so what they are doing here is they are paginating this. Maybe they are giving us 50 at the time. So if I go / conditions, I have to specify, give it additional information, page equals 1, page equals 5, and so on. Okay, or I can give a specific category, a specific topic, or I can say, give me stuff between which was published between certain days. Okay, so I can give it tweaks. Okay, and the list of all tweaks are here. Okay, if you scroll a little bit up, okay, scroll a little bit up, it says required. Okay, so none of these says that it must be entered. Okay, so I don't have to enter all of these, but these are good to have, right? So scroll down. Okay, and then I should get a 200 response, and then in the data I should have this blah 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 blah, which is our JSON. Okay, so and then it says, okay, you must put a logo of NHS on your website and stuff like that, but it's fine. Scroll down.
Yeah, this is like nothing.
You get the logo from there, you can cache the stuff like that and so on. Okay? So the example they have is /acne, which is giving us a specific point, okay? But here, what it says also in the blue letters is this is a GET request, okay? So we know it's a GET request, we know the URL, it gave us all that information. And the only thing what I need to pass in order for this to work is that header, okay, which says, scroll up somewhere, subscription key, okay? So, can you open the Postman?
Yep.
So, you're calling HTTP APIs, NHS UK conditions. Do you have a dot after UK?
Yes, well, but I copy it, I think. Okay.
And I wear glasses and I need to...
Yeah, there's a dot, definitely.
Okay.
Well, it's giving the same error, but
okay. Where is your subscription key?
it is here. Is this one?
Yeah, but what is the
This.
what's that?
Well, this is something I looked for on the internet because I didn't know at first how to implement the subscription key.
But see, I can pass number of parameters here. Go to params, okay?
Okay.
So key, type Andre, and value type, I don't know, stupid.
I'm gonna try to type this.
Okay, well, let's send the personal information to NHS. What's wrong? Okay, because I can send them in the query any parameters, but when this is a GET request, see, what's going to happen is going to type in your URL. See how it added the little question mark and this and that, okay? So what we don't want to do is don't want to pass publicly our condition keys and so on. So that's why they say don't do parameters to this like that. So we are not going to do that. So uncheck that box in front of Andre. Okay. So now you can pass it in headers. So that's something that is not so equally. But they said to you quite clearly, okay, in headers, you need to have a key which is called subscription key. And the letters, capitals and so on matter, okay? So you have a thing called OCM blah 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 subscription key, which is not what they ask you to type, okay? So if you go back to your documentation, okay, where is that? It says header key has to be subscription key, okay? So copy that subscription key. That's what they are going to look for. Nothing else. No other stuff, especially. Okay. So let's send this. Okay.
Well, now he's not complaining about that one.
But what is the response? Because you are showing me, why find replace?
There's no response apparently.
There is. Yeah, but I don't care about consoles. You got.
It's like giving errors.
Well, apparently he can just put this without condition, okay? But you can try /acne, but No. / conditions.
Yeah. How about trying the acne one, which is the
/acne. That's how it.
Let's see if it works.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, but what is it saying? Because you have opened a console for some reason, and I don't see where. How did you do that? Because I get
before you open the console, you had the other page where I would see these 401s and so on.
Okay. So this.
Invalid character
Mm-hmm.
in header subscription key. Okay, so now we can see there is a response. You can't even send it because there is a valid character. So go to headers, subscription key, it has exclamation mark, it tells you there is a invalid character. So what is that character?
So
this 3E06, etc.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, it has invalid character. So you press enter. You see this talked about coding standards just a second ago. I mean, this carriage return, enter, stuff like that. Okay. So when you copy paste crap and the trailing spaces and stuff like that, that is sometimes causing the issue. You don't see that you press the enter and so on. So now it's not complaining. You had exclamation mark and stuff like that. So let's see is it going to work.
Yeah. Not working. So
now it's working. Okay. So brilliant.
well, it was silly actually.
But it always is. This is the thing about programming. You know, it's always something extremely silly, which takes you 6 hours. Okay. And then what I said to guys, this is the rule. If you can't fix it in half an hour, start calling people. Okay, you have your whole team, start calling them. Sometimes you need just another pair of eyes to tell you, you put the bloody dot in URL, you know what the hell is it doing there. You didn't see it because you are looking everywhere else, but you know the person sees the most obvious thing. And then they say, what's that exclamation mark doing there? Okay. So can you do /actually? Yes, you can. Okay, so now you got the condition, which is great, and you have pretty row. Can you click visualize and preview on the bottom?
Yes.
Okay, so preview is not very useful. You'll see how, there is no visualizer for this request. Can you say row?
So here I need to add something.
Row. And the tab, pretty row, preview, visualize. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I need you to do one thing. Okay. So on the top right corner of the post menu, you have word upgrade. You see that?
Top right.
Underneath that there is an I.
Yeah.
Under upgrade. There is an I all the way to the left. Underneath that I, there is a code. Click that. Okay. No idea what is going on here with your postman, but anyway.
He's doing nothing.
Yeah, but it should do something. Okay. Now this code, when you open that, basically gives you a code in JavaScript, PHP, Curl, and 68 other different languages, which will now say, just copy paste this code in your code, and then that will work. Okay? So you don't have to write this API. You can just use it as it is. However, before we move on to have a little break and move to the next person, we already have this code to make these API conditions. Did you find it?
Yeah, what I did was going to the VS Code.
Okay.
Well, first, before that, I went to actual here, Asia, and put the, the mouse on one of the concepts. Then I saw some descriptions down there. For example, get details by URL, which is some function. Went to VS Code and tried to search for it. So I did so, and
Okay.
Then by this, I got like the files that have the code and the functions and everything, which are the home controller, the alphabet.js, and so on. So here I can see how Hammer in this case called the API.
Get
Yes, details by URL. Okay, so scroll up a little bit. Let's see this. Okay, so it has some settings. It's URL is whatever. Get headers. Here's the header which says subscription key, and this is the subscription key that actually is ours. Okay, so hey internet, you can steal our subscription key and use NHS for your horrible purposes. So
I didn't dare.
No, but we are streaming on YouTube, so now everybody knows your name, yours API keys, our API keys, and so on. And people on YouTube are really, all honest, and they will never abuse this information in the first place. Okay, so yeah, we might change it later. But anyway, Jesus. Excellent job. I think it was quite useful. So well done. Claps from here. Guys, I'm going to make a little break. Maybe try to fix speakers, maybe not. And then we'll have our next victim. So talk to you in a few seconds, and bye for Well, one way or another, guys, we are back. I think maybe speakers will work, maybe they won't. We'll see. Hopefully, Marin is ready. Okay, so I'm going to switch this to that. And I'm on Skype. So Marin, can you say hi?
Hello, can you hear me?
I hear your big speakers. Can you share your screen, please?
Yes, I can. There you go.
Excellent. You can see your screen. Here, everywhere. Brilliant. So, can you tell us what was your task?
Yes, so my task was to create a mobile register API and for the mobile. And what it does is it adds a user to the database when the user registers on the app. And I had to create the back-end functionality. So at first, also just like Jesus, I was also a bit confused what I had to do. But luckily, I also had the help of Ahmed. So he explained to me where I could start. But at first, I was confused because do I have to make a front end? Do I have to make a form where I need to make inputs? But I didn't have to do any of that, luckily. Only the back end. So that's where I started. And also at first, I was thinking, do I also have to make a login functionality? But also not. So that was easy. So yeah, it was a start at the register. And first, I started at this file, the web.php file. Because I remembered from the lessons of you, Andre, that this is where all the web routes are. So yeah, I started here looking of where maybe the mobile APIs were, the already existing ones. And then I saw here that there were mobile app APIs, this comment. And so I started looking between all of these and what they did and where they went. And once I understood a little bit of what controllers they were called and which functions, I could start making my own controller. So what I did at first was, instead of using an existing, so as you can see here, the mobile app API, instead of using this existing one, I made my own. And later I was doubting that decision, so I asked Ahmed if I needed to use this controller that already existed or my own. And Ahmed said that I had to use this one. So I removed my old one.
Why?
Because it was better organized if all the mobile APIs were at the same place.
So what if we have 10,000 mobile APIs?
Yeah. Well, I don't think 10,000, but yes, there's quite some, yeah.
Yeah. So as I said before, with controllers, we group them by functionality, okay? So when we can do 6, 8, 7, 10 functions in one controller, we can do 100 and 1,000 in one controller, but then it becomes quite unmanageable, okay? So we want to break the functionality down, so registration, everything to do with the user login and their profile page would be, in my opinion, one controller, because that's one like whole, okay? And then everything to do with conditions, like list conditions, get the condition, show the condition would be another controller. And then everything that is like feedback, like in this application, obviously users are sending corrections if the translation is not correct. Probably that would be another separate controller. So there's no rule to say this is how you have to do it, okay? But breaking down is something which is, makes sense. So what Ahmed is telling you is not exactly correct, okay? But you know,
so
there is
some sort of logic that we apply, common sense how we organize this. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to teach you. But we can use the same controller, so that's fine.
It's always
It's always good to have Ahmed when you are programming. So whenever you are learning programming, find yourself an Ahmed
that you can
bother with questions. Okay, so that's a really good thing.
But anyway, carry on.
Yes. So I also use in my own, my own routes. I also use the mobile app API controller.
Okay.
And this controller is here, and it was under the app HTTP controllers auth, and then here it was found. And here it is full of functions of the other functions and stuff. So I decided to also get mine here, in the top right here. This is mine. But first, I was also doubting what I had to put here. I decided to put here post instead of get, because
Why?
I think, yeah, so I was doubting this, but I think because I have to post data to the database that I already have. So I don't have to get anything really, I think. So I only have to post it to the database. That's my thought behind it.
Yeah.
That's why I chose this to put this here.
Okay.
So
Next week we are going to talk about CRUD, which is create, read, update, and delete stuff, and we are going to also talk difference about get, post, patch, and so on. You know, but pretty much again, this is a common sense. So if you are sending some data, okay, especially data which has username and password or stuff like that, we don't want to use get request and put it in URL so people can see it. Okay, we want to post it and do a few other things, to make sure it's safe. So post is a correct choice.
Well, that's good to hear. And I called this register because it was easy. And my function I also called register. So then I went to this controller, this is here, and I looked at all the other functions that were here. This is mine, but like this one, and I just scanned through them all and what they did. I don't really understand all of them. And then I created my own here, and you can see that I commented that this is what I made, so mobile register API by me. And then here's the function, which again is register. And then also,
but can we use you for a second, okay? You remember now at the beginning we were talking about comments, okay? This is register function, and after that there is live says function register. Okay? So you really made it much more clear now that you put that comments, okay? But what the real clarification is what are we passing to this function? Okay, what is this request? That might not be quite clear. For most developers, after you know CRUD, you will know exactly what request is, so you don't even have to do that, okay? But this is, I would say this is a function which enables mobile users to submit their registration form. Okay, so they submit their username password where we verify users do they exist, for example, if they registered already, and if they haven't, we can create a new user. So we can say this is the purpose of this function again, and then explain what are the parameters that we pass in this request. Because see, in line 45, 6, 7, and 8, and 9, you are opening this request, okay, and you are getting username, password, first name, last name, email. Okay, so this is what we can describe before this function, and what I said again in this thing, if I want, I can create a documentation easily if I use the correct format of doing that. So I can even create documentation so everybody will know how to use this. Okay, I just wanted to highlight my previous point. But okay,
yes.
So far this is good. All right.
Yes. So yes, I created this function register, and I looked at the other functions here, and then I saw this function, which had some kind of similar, I think, post functionality, because they also had to post something to the database, I think. And then I saw these, and I thought, okay, maybe I can use this in my own function. And I checked that with Ahmed, and he said that I could use something similar to this. And then I copied some part of that, and I implemented it here in myself. And I don't really remember what these parameters do, but I think I have a general understanding of this. So what I do here is I make a ID variable, and I get the user's ID that he put in. I request that, and I assign it here too.
So
And
can you give me example of website where you went to register, they ask you to enter the user ID as part of your registration process?
That's a very good point. I don't think they do that. No.
No, but you do. So we are inventing a really new, great, groundbreaking features here. Okay, so you know. Yes, we copied stuff from other places of code, you know, and sometimes we do need this ID passed as, for some reasons, but not in this case. Again, we are applying typical common sense, okay? So, to understand your task, okay, you say, I said to you, hey, make me a registration API. Your first question is, okay, what data do we require from user to submit in order to register? Because I can register just with my nickname. I can say, hey, it's Dan Andre, and I'm registered. Or maybe I need to provide my blood type and BSN number and all that for the registration. So this depends on the client, customer, whatever the story is. So you have to clarify this in your task and say, what is the user going to submit? Okay? Do we need their username in order to register? Because that's a valid question. And the answer is no. Okay? I just want people who register on this AIC app to give me their first name, last name, and email. Okay? And of course, I need them to create a password so they can log in. Okay? So for example, if you ask me, not Ahmed, I could have told you. Okay, but this is the level of details. When you get the task, you have to keep asking questions to clarify, because otherwise you will add, invent stuff which might, and that's not a very good approach. It doesn't hurt in his case that he's asking for all these details, but you see my point, didn't have to. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, this is what I asked, and indeed I think this is a bit unnecessary now. And I took it from the database users. Yeah, you can see all this, and I thought, okay, maybe this is good data to have, and I didn't want to add the gender or the birthday because they're a bit irrelevant, I thought. So yeah, I came up with this, but as Andre pointed out, I should have maybe asked a bit about this. But yeah, so here I am making a new user variable where I use this, and this is located here. And what this does, I think Ahmed explained to me, is that I am using, this is the method it's called, I think, that adds a user. So this is the user functionality.
So
and I'm creating a new.
Guys. What is this user? We talked about this. He said Ahmed told him it's method or something like that. What is user? Class, module, what else we think a user is? So we have method, class, and module. It's a new object from the class user. Okay, so we have very good consensus of the things, we haven't got a clue what it is. Okay, good. But we are going to use it anyway, it doesn't matter,
Yeah. So yeah, I used it anyway. And then I had the ID of the new user. So I made this ID. So it's like a property of the new user I'm making. And I assigned it to the ID variable that is here as well. So that is the requested ID of the user that he put in. And then I store it in the new user.
How do you know
He put
he
it
put it in?
Yeah, I could make a check, but I didn't add a check here, so I
Okay.
wouldn't know now. So yeah, that's maybe something for in the future to add. And then I did that also with all the others like username, password, first name, last name, etc. And then this I made a saved. So this is also a check. I did implement this check, and this is saved variable where I saved this is a function, I saved it to the new user. And then I here check that with the if
Okay.
statement.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
So
what
what
are the possible values in variable
saved?
What do you mean in this variable? What the possible?
So,
So
if I say,
say,
okay,
for example,
okay,
okay,
variable
variable
y
y
is
is
variable
x plus 5.
Okay,
Okay, so what are, for example, possible values of variable y?
I think, well, if y equals x plus 5, I think.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
what
so
are
what are
possible values
values
that you
that
can,
you can
For
be
x,
for y?
for y? Yeah.
well, I think y, anything you put into x and then 5 added
So
onto
if
that.
So
I
if
put
I
in
put in
x1,
x1,
Then
y
it
is
would be
going
y
six.
is
to
going
be
to be
Yeah, it would be 6. I
6.
think.
6.
Okay.
Yes.
So 6
So
is the
6 is a
possible value. So it's 7. So it's 8. So it's minus 10. Okay, and so on. So we know the possible values of y, because I as a developer need to know
what is going to be stored in my variables all the time.
Okay?
Okay.
So I'm
So I'm
asking
asking
what are the possible values of variables saved?
I guess the new user.
Nope.
And
Sorry,
guys. Varnas, what did you say?
No?
No?
No, it's
No, it's not username and password. No information from request is there. If which variable is not empty? But variable saved gets assigned the value of the expression on the right. Okay? So variable saved gets whatever the value of expression on the right is. Okay?
No,
but that's not the value.
Output of the function saved.
Okay, so every function that we call typically, not every single one, but most of them, return us some sort of value back. When we call them, they return some sort of value. Okay? And I have to check the documentation to make sure what those values are. Okay? Because it can be true or false. It can be 1 or 0. Yes or no. Hello, Andre. Yes, I saved your stuff. Don't worry about it, mate. I got you covered. It can be also that. Okay? Because he is now checking this variable saved.
But he doesn't know what are the possibilities.
So
this
code
is
a
bit of
guesswork.
Okay?
No, it's not checking is empty. Okay? There is a PHP function is empty, which checks is that empty.
What's this exclamation mark mean? No,
No, it's not checking is it true. Every if command
in the world is checking is the expression in the brackets
true
or not.
or not.
So
your
your
answer is
not
not
precise.
precise.
Of course, it's
checking is it true. But what is exclamation mark doing?
Not.
Not.
So that's correct answer,
Julia. Thank you.
But what
does not do?
Yeah. So let's
say
the
the
save is true. Okay, the variable saved has value true. And I've put exclamation mark, it is going to inverse that into false. So this says
if the variable saved is true, then this expression in the brackets will be false, and the if will fail.
Okay?
So
you
assign
some
some
value
to variable saved at line 58, and then you are checking is it
not
that.
Yes.
Okay? And if it's not that,
let's hope this works.
You are returning response 500 because
it's not saved. That's what you are trying to
tell.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool.
So yeah, what I thought I did here was indeed make this variable and then store this function into it. And if it wasn't stored, then I got the error message. And if this was okay, so I didn't get any error, then I would get this as response, which was the 200 code. And I think here you can see what they are. And then it would be request was successful. Otherwise, it will be internal server error. So that was the thought behind these.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was pretty much the functionality I was able to come up with.
Okay, so
does it work?
I have no idea because I also tried to set up Postman.
Okay.
I can show you here. So this is Postman. And I don't know, I didn't really manage to set it up correctly, I think. So the question is whether or not it works. I tried this, but I also don't know if when I do this as a post request, it will work. So yeah, this is the only return I got. So yeah, this is where I'm stuck right now.
So just like the previous guy Jesus was sending some information to the server, in this case LHS server, you expect also because you are making the API, you are making what Jesus was using. Okay. So you are on the other side. Okay. So you have to specify in your documentation to people like Jesus who are going to use your API what they have to submit. Okay. So they have to submit you some information in order for you to be able to create this user. Okay. And this information in your case was ID, first name, last name, email, nickname, whatever it was. Okay. Password and so on. Okay. So in order to test this is it working, you need to pass parameters. So this is the key value. So the first key would be ID because you have ID. Okay. So type ID and value is 10. I don't know, whatever. Okay.
Let's stick to, because in your database you want to store ID as a numerical format, okay? So when we are testing stuff, if I just put random ASD everywhere just to slam on my keyboard, I'm going to get very unpredicted behavior, okay? So I'm trying to make this really work, okay? Because don't need description, okay, so ID, so the next one would be name, etc., okay. But see, now, because you are using parameters, okay, now it's changing your URL. See? So these parameters one thing with early internet where you can put this question mark and then just list ID equals 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's not what we want to do. Okay, so we're not going to use parameters. We occasionally do them. Menners diese for buttons, you know, slash ID button, user is button. That's a different story. So uncheck that ID, please.
Okay,
go to the body. Up. Body up.
Where
you
have parameters, authorization, header, body. Okay, so see, this is the body of your post request. Okay, and you have a different ways of formatting the body. Okay, so you can send the form data. Let's try form data. Okay. So let's say the guy who is in your mobile application is registering, okay? So basically it's filling in a little form where it says what's your name, what's your password, and so on, okay? So that form will have keys like ID, password, first name, last name, and when he presses submit button, it will pass some values. So this is where we actually do this ID equals 10 and name equals so and so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in order for this to work, you need to add a key. So click on that, type ID, that's your key, and the value that you are sending from this imaginary app is 555. And then next key would be whatever is you're asking in that request.
Yeah.
So what are you asking there?
And it
has to be username. It has to be exactly the same format, case, you can't put a lowercase, uppercase, because then it's not going to work. So I would copy paste, double click on username, not that one, because it's a request username. Yep, that one. No. It doesn't have to be the same order. Okay.
Etc.
Okay, so this is what you are going to fill in. Okay. But click send.
Okay.
So basically this returns to you some sort of very basic page. You can click visualize, I think. Okay, nothing. Preview. Nothing. Okay. This is not calling API.
No.
This
is not calling your API, I think. Okay. Because what I typically do is, first of all, make sure that I can get one of these APIs to work. Okay. So I would check. Can I make a call to any of these APIs and see the return, just like we had Jesus before calling NHS and he was getting wrong stuff till he got parameters right. So I would first check existing ones to see are they working, okay, and then make my own one. Because I don't know is your URL correct, okay, you can be that. And one thing with post requests that I have to tell you is that post requests are subject to abuse. Okay, so on any website I can have a form. Okay, so people write scripts to try to enter random crap into that form in order to either break the website, or inject some illegal code, or hack the website maybe to get inside it. So they keep trying. Oh, you have a login form. Great. Let me sign. Andre, password 123.
Does it work? Andre, password 1234. Does it work? Password ABCD. So they write a script which makes 5 million calls a second to this website. Okay,
this is a typical abuse. So we protect post requests from doing this. And post requests are a little bit harder
to program.
Okay. So for you, I would say do a GET request. Okay. So if you go back to your web roots,
Okay.
Okay.
Change that
Change
to
that to
get.
get.
Okay.
Okay.
And then you
And
can
then
do
you can
this
do
in
this
a
in a
browser.
browser.
Okay.
Okay.
So go to
to
your
your mobile app.
go to your
Go to your
controller
controller
to register.
and
And your
do your
controller
first. Your controller first.
What do you
Your
mean?
controller
In
in a
the
VS
VS
Code.
Code.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
In that function,
put
put
DD
DD
hello.
hello.
You remember,
You remember that
DD
DD would dump and die?
So just
Yeah.
Just
DD
DD
and in
and in
quotes
quotes
hello.
hello.
Okay.
Okay,
And
and
semicolon.
semicolon.
So if you go to browser
to
to this URL that we just created, this is what you should see. So
appsource.com/mobile whatever.
I think mobile. Let's see,
API/register.
because this is, I think, what I have to
Yep.
include as well. And then register.
Okay.
Okay.
So
now we know that you are getting into that function. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So go to
Postman now.
Okay.
Okay.
Change this post to
get.
Okay.
Okay. And click send.
So see, it's
giving you the same stuff. Okay.
It
doesn't work.
All
All right.
And it
doesn't work because you have a status in green if you see
move your mouse
right.
In
green letters it says 410 gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not longer available.
Okay. We did?
No.
DD
will write here, but it works, it will write here. Okay.
Now I think the trick here is because these APIs require authentication.
Okay, so it requires some sort of, because you put the controller in authentication, I think they require authentication. So you have to be logged in order to use them.
To the
website you have to be logged in. Okay.
Now the
problem is Postman is not logged into our website. Postman is acting like a mobile from far away or some other website, connected to our website. They are not logged in. Okay? And our website says, I don't know who you are, I'm not giving you any information. You didn't log in, and so I would get that out of that controller. I would write just like I did YouTube controller in one of our lessons. Make sure it works, and then make sure you can use it in this without authentication. In one of the lessons I said that middleware auth will force everybody to be logged in, but we can't force Postman to log in. It will just complain. So I think your issue is somewhere around there. Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we got quite enough. I think we have a Luana waiting for the thing. Did Greg occupied your room?
Huh?
Again,
yes. Oh my God. Horrible thing. Okay.
So we have
Luana who is okay. I can kill off these speakers so we don't hear you 58 times. We'll see. Hopefully you can hear. Okay. Have you got? Are you ready?
Okay.
We'll steal your computer.
Thank you very much. Marin, well done, man.
One question.
Yes. To send and receive the information, yes, to communicate between the two and these two computers, is one computer, is a mobile phone or something. Yeah, send and receive. It always send and receives data. Even when you are getting, you say, give me some information, you send request, and then it gives you back some answer, okay? And if I use it just to send information, it also should give me back again the answer to say, so it's basically always the same process. It is a normal request, but then we specify is it a post request or get or patch or delete and so on, and we deal with them slightly differently. Okay. So hold on, let me kill this sound here. Okay, so because we can hear her speaking. Okay, and you are unmuted. Can you unmute your Skype, please? So we can hear you. The guys on the line.
Can you hear me? Guys on the line? Everyone? Wait, I have to quit and reopen Skype.
Okay.
But we need to connect this postman to our Visual Studio Code, because we get JSON file, like response from API into postman, right?
Postman, well, first of all, in VS Code, we can download plugins like extensions like Postman, which will do exactly the same thing. Okay, so people wrote them. So that's easy peasy. You don't have to worry about using Postman. All right. Now what Postman does is a little application which I know is useful. It's free. Okay. Where I can emulate like mobile phone. I don't have a AIC application built. Okay. I don't need to have it built. I can emulate that quite well with the Postman. And another nice thing about Postman is that you can build a library of these API calls. So when you build stuff, after 6 months, 12 months, you have all the APIs that you called before saved. Okay, so and if you log into your account, it will also synchronize them and so on. Okay, so hello. We have a little kittens and stuff like that. So, but your speaker, whose speaker is muted? Yours or mine? Is your Skype muted?
I'm not muted on Skype, but I can mute myself if you want.
No, I don't want you to mute because I need you guys to hear what you're saying. Okay, so what was your task?
So, wait. Okay, so my task was just to run an iOS environment and then run the app on that simulator. So it's very similar, kind of, to what Julia tried to do last week. So what I did was that I just went back to that process, kind of. So I was just like, okay, so we started last week, so I already knew, for example, that the database would be on Gitbit. So you just go to your repository, and then I used to have mobile on there. You git clone, change things around a little bit, and then you should have something like this. So mobile, and then on the mobile, you have everything. The one thing I noticed is that I have clear comparison, which I will get to. Like things shift around a lot.
Like things only get themselves after I installed Node or after I installed Node.js. So that was just a whole mess. So everything you can think about that went wrong, pretty much kind of went wrong. Another issue I have is this. It's my biggest grievance of the day, is that I thought I had Xcode, but ends up I didn't have Xcode. I had an extension of Xcode for my admin, but I didn't have it on my computer, so I had to reinstall it, and since this morning, it's been installing. It's going faster now. So hopefully it'll get solved out by tonight, but there's a lot I cannot do without Xcode, because it's just a mess. Like I can't link anything really from Gabby and Alpha before I get Xcode sold out. And so that's kind of like the biggest thing I have to focus on.
However,
Let me just continue with my process. So yeah, so I just went back to the video. I was just like, okay, so it's similar to Android, but it's iOS. I also knew that I had to run it on my Mac because you kept hammering it in my head. And so I was just like, okay, so this I was worried at first because I didn't fully finish setting up I used to have on my Mac. However, for just a mobile simulator, it wouldn't be an issue. So, and I saw that later by like checking out YouTube videos and stuff. And so, yes.
like I said,
So, there comes the first one. I was tunnel focused on this. I don't know how to explain. Like, so I was so focused on getting everything right and like focusing on the error messages that I didn't see what I was typing at some point. And I was very sleep deprived, so what went wrong went wrong. And so like it's only after
like I rechecked everything. For example, like I did dumb mistakes, like I forgot to use npm before command or npx before command.
so I went back
Not fix that.
Luana, just I love this at the moment, okay? Because every single one of us is exactly like this at one point of time, okay? You know. First rule, if it's not working, go out. Just go out, okay? You are not going to force it, okay? Have a nap. I don't care. Drink beer. Whatever. Take drugs. Oh, now 3 years later, like, my child killed themselves with drugs because Andre told them to do that. Don't drink drugs, guy. Pray to Jesus. Okay. But this is really good, right? We get tunnel vision. This is a really good expression. Okay. I like it because I see it quite a lot, and I didn't use it myself. You focus so much on one thing that you don't see something which is so obvious in front of you. Like what are you writing? You're checking error messages. But there's no error. You didn't. It can be something completely stupid. That was tunnel vision Jesus earlier because he didn't see that dot, because he's looking at that console. Why is it error? Yeah. Okay. Again. Relax. There is no pressure. Okay. You don't have to complete the task and make sure it works. Okay. It's not a competition with everybody else. Okay. So relax. Check out. Time out. Close it. And sometimes when you have multiple tasks, it's very useful to actually switch to a different task. Because if that one is nasty, leave it. Go to easy one. Do that. Then okay, I'm not a fool. I still know how to add two and two, so I can revisit that tomorrow. So this is very important. People get work till late, and you get so stressed and so on. It's horrible. And you burn out after 2 weeks, 2 months, 5 years. You don't want to do that. Pace yourself. Give yourself time to think. To process the data. That's quite a lot. Okay, so I like that you were watching videos. It's not I have to admit I watched the videos. Yeah. Because we need to repeat some of these things multiple times. That's all good. Okay, so you're doing the right things, asking questions and so on. But close your laptop. That's really good. Okay? Please carry on.
So then I closed my laptop and I just did something different for a while. Then I wrote down everything that I thought might be the issue. And then I was just like asking you basically like the question about NPM. And I was just like, well, I don't understand why it works on your computer but not on mine. And then it was something as simple as I forgot that I needed a Node.js package. So that I'm gonna go into that expired with NPM. So try to install it with just npm install. Didn't work. Every time I kept getting like error messages. Then I just couldn't do it. I tried sudo because I was tired.
maybe by magic, but no. And then I
I
realized
realized, yeah,
I need a package to install it actually, because on my Mac and like on my Linux based laptop, you have to use something on the board to install different things. So
you have to enter into brew and then install things. Anyway, I think my okay. So then I asked you for clarifications, as I said, and then I was like, okay, so I need to on Yarn and Node.js. So I did that.
so then I was
Like,
like,
okay, there's something else that seems wrong because
because
I refreshed the recordings, but there's a discrepancy
with what's going
going
on,
on the screen right
there's no non-audio. It drove me insane. I thought that
Can I ask people online, okay, and the guys in the room, do you see something very wrong? This black
file
layout.
Does anyone see something weird? I'll just ask that question. I'll come back to it, okay?
Nobody online? No? Nobody here? Yeah, all looks good to you. HD?
It's not
HD access. Okay, wanna carry on.
Okay, so where's my module? I was wondering where it was. Then I kind of just looked it up. So I was just like, wait, actually, because I know that sometimes the issue with also Visual Code on a Mac is that it won't show something that it tells it to ignore sometimes. And so it just takes it out if you don't ask it to show it to you. So then, yeah, I fixed that issue with a little tweaking in just my settings. Yeah, they will come back to haunt me. I'll explain later. So yeah, then came Yarn. Yarn was arguably also going very wrong.
But can I ask you a question? What's NPM?
so
That's the nodule package manager.
What does it do?
So essentially, we have all these modules, and instead of having to code connections and links between them, it kind of just does it for us.
Does what?
It just, I don't know how to like fully explain it, but
Slowly. What does it do?
Yeah.
So based on what I read on
Yeah.
what it does exactly is that
It manages your modules, but
What sort of management those modules need?
well, first of all, we have a lot to go through, so it just like goes with the how do you say? Like the way I understood it was that with the stuff that we
have our React Native code,
all
all of this stuff, what does
So that's what you showed me was a package JSON. We see package JSON, it has a list of things, okay? And you try to run a command npm install, okay? And that's exactly what it does. It goes through this list, specifically this list, so you have to run it in folder where this list is, and then it will install all these modules. It will install them. And if these modules need other modules, it will install those as well. So it will install their dependencies, okay? And where is it going to stick it in? In the folder called node underscore modules, okay, which you can see here, the light gray on the left, okay? So npm does that, okay? Does other things, because if I use other commands than npm install, like npm upgrade or update or stuff like that, it can do also that, okay, and a few other things, okay, but the one which is first purpose here is to install stuff. Yarn is exactly the same thing, so you can use one or the other. I said on my lesson that for me npm on Mac sometimes doesn't work, but yarn does, so yeah. Carry on.
So yeah, I'll get to something about that in a bit. But yeah, so yeah, it's all right to install it. It's a little different again because you have to do it through brew, unlike with the Linux system. So the thing to keep in mind is when I tried this out the first time, I tried it out on the other laptop that was here when I was applying the thing, the task, and then it was like, oh, great, it's working fine. Then I went on my Mac and it was just like, great, fine. So I figured that out, and then I had to put myself back to like my Mac mindset. And like at the beginning, I was going to file, trying to figure out how to approve this file, things like that, and just understand that like things will be different. So as I said, directories are not the same, etc. Yes. So
Just to be sure it makes everything,
I'm
I'll show you.
really
But essentially, it installed
hard.
not into the folder that I tried to install it in. Regardless if you gave it the directory and then you give it brew install yarn, it will just install it into my general. What did I do? I just copied it back into mobile, so you have it here.
So what did you have to copy? Sorry.
So it's just yarn. Like I just needed.
Why?
Because
I did
rather mess up
things,
and like.
But if you move it from somewhere to somewhere, it might mess up the links.
yeah,
That's
that's
what I was
how I
thinking.
think.
So why did you move it?
I
Or why did you copy it?
Because I was thinking that it's needed to like sync everything in mobile, not
Yeah. So guys, this is one thing what I it's really good this tunnel vision, and people are getting excited of you that there's a pressure, I need to do it, and so on, and the more
of that you have,
the more let's call them
silly,
and I make silly mistakes
first of all, more silly mistakes we make. Okay?
So for
So
some reason,
at some point, it makes us perfect sense to move stuff around and so on. We figured out, oh my God,
this file doesn't look like in the right location, so I'll just move files along. So we follow completely wrong trail to fix the problem. Okay? So this is again where I said, okay, we need to slow down. You're trying too fast, okay? You're trying too fast, you need to slow down, because this is a big task for you.
Yeah.
Much bigger than, as I said to Julia, you had the worst task. You had the same task, but even more horrible, okay?
Yeah.
So you need to slow down. The bigger the task is,
slower you do it.
Okay?
More thinking,
more
questions,
more clarifications you need to do before you start doing it, okay? More explanations, you need to work with somebody to guide you through. But what I was telling to DJ 5 times already, you have to understand what the things are. So, what is yarn.lock? this
this
file
file that your mouse is.
Yes.
What is
What
that
is that
file?
file?
What does
What does that
that
file
file
do?
do?
What's its purpose?
Well,
Do
basically,
you
it's
know
Do you
just-
know
or not?
or not?
I can make an educated
Yeah,
guess.
I know,
I
but
know,
I
but
didn't
I
ask
didn't
you,
ask
can
you,
you make
can
an
you make an
educated guess?
educated
Do
guess?
you
Do you
know
know
and can
and
bet
can
your
bet your
house
house
that
that
that's correct answer
answer
or not?
or not?
No,
No,
that's correct answer. And it's fine to say, I don't know what this file means. Because guys, I don't know. Give me 90% of files here. I don't know what the hell are there for. I don't know. So
I don't expect you to know.
Eventually you become all smarter than me, because I'm old fart. But that's all fine. Okay? But
It's fine to say I don't know.
We don't.
The object of learning how to program
is
is not to know everything, because that is impossible. Okay? So don't try to know everything.
We have to understand what is the process. Okay? And in order to do React Native app and make it work on iOS. Okay? First Apple says to us, you have to buy Apple machines in order to build Apple apps. You can't do it on Windows. Google's like, I don't care, you can do it on Linux, you can do it on Mac, you can do it on whatever you want. Yeah, thank you very much, Google, so that's why you have many more apps compared to Apple and bigger market share, amongst other things. But, being open and proprietary, but maybe Apple is making more money. Completely
besides the point. Okay? So,
this task
is complicated.
Okay? And you need to understand, okay, what would be the first steps? What is the thinking process? Okay? So we have seen some of the stuff that she was doing was quite good, but some of the stuff didn't make much sense. Okay? Why was she looking for database? I don't know. What do you need database for?
For
For
example.
Okay?
This is exactly why we are doing these sessions, is to talk about the thinking process.
Okay? So the first rule, slow. Second rule, understand what this means. If you don't understand what it means, and you think it's important, you have then to research that. If you don't think it's important, then don't waste time on it. Okay? But when we have a complex subject tool, I would first try to install a small demo app. Okay? Again, I will go to the documentation of React Native and say, how do you set this up to work on iOS? And then they will say, this is the steps that you are taking in order to do that. And of course, at some point, they will say, you need Xcode, but Brew needs Xcode tools, I think. So you might have Xcode tools installed, but not the Xcode itself. So it needs Xcode, and why the hell Apple thought it was like nice to have a little app to help developers develop stuff with just 12 gigabytes. Yeah, what's in those 12 gigabytes? But hopefully it's at least one simulator, because we need one simulator. Okay? And simulator of the iPhone is 2 gigabytes of space. What the hell is the rest of it? I have no idea. Okay? But you use Xcode not just to program for iPhones, but iPads, and iTVs, and iCraps, and iBooks, and all this sort of stuff. So it's in the world of tools, so they made one tool to do everything. Okay, so yes, you need that, but that's what you need in order to run this the simulator. But before I run the simulator, I need the code. Okay? And the code, the funny thing what I said is wrong here. If you go back to the slide, please. I'll just show you not this one, the one with the folder structure. Yep. This one.
This
Okay.
one. Okay.
So see,
see
the mobile app,
app,
the folder
folder
mobile, is inside AIC.
AIC.
What is this AIC? App, Bootstrap config database. What is that?
What is that?
Where does
Where
that
does
come?
that come?
Oh,
This is
This is
our
our
AIC
AIC
website.
website.
And this
And
is
this
an
is an
HTML
HTML
folder.
folder.
So basically,
So
all
these
these
files
are
are
on
on
our
our
website.
website.
So if you
So
go
if you
to
go to
absolute.com/AIC/mobile/readme.md, you can actually open this file in your browser. Okay?
Okay?
So that's why
So
I
that's
said,
why I
okay,
said,
so
okay,
she wasn't
she
paying
wasn't
attention,
paying
but
attention,
this is why
this is why I say,
okay,
okay,
web
web
development,
development,
I have one set of folders, and then I have another set of folders for the mobile development, so it doesn't have to be in HTML, var, www, whatever it is. I don't put it there. And then, yes?
yes.
You saw this code from HTML without the app, right?
Well, we
Well, we use HTML kind of code in React Native.
Okay.
Okay.
And
And
it's good to have on the same developer
developer
machine, websites running, and mobile application running, so they can talk to each other. So I don't need anything else to simulate the real life of the application. But I don't need to put application inside the HTML code. Okay? So this needs to go to completely separate directory. Okay? So the code of React Native, okay, and I am aware of the types, so I'll just stand up here so guys can see, but I will say it again, okay? The code of React Native doesn't have iOS, doesn't have Android, okay? Doesn't have, it does have package JSON, okay? And probably some sort of few like screens or assets or some folders. So if you have a basic application, okay? So the first thing what we do, so this is JavaScript code. We need at least index.js and app.js in order to run this, okay? So basic app, which says hello world, will have one or two files in this, as I explained. But in order to run, it runs in the web view of your mobile phone. In order to run, I need to install, remember last time, 1,200 modules, or whatever the number is. So I installed them with package manager npm. I said npm install in this folder, mobile, or whatever you called it. I run npm install, and then it will create folder node modules here somewhere. Okay? And that's it. Now I have all the code. When I start React Native, when I initialize my project, it will also create separate directories for iOS and Android. Okay? When I initialize, right? Now, this will contain all the files that we need to run this as a mobile application, Android plus these files that we have here for mobile. So this is specifically for iOS what is required to run. Integration with Apple hardware. Same thing for Android. Okay, so these are generated at some point during the installation of the new project. When you clone this project, you already generated them, so you have them as such. Okay? So once we got our code, once we got our modules, then we can run commands which are again in package JSON, such as npx react-native run-android or run-iOS. That will execute number of scripts which will compile this into one package, launch the simulator, and install the app and open the app. Okay?
Okay?
So that's
So that's
our
our
ultimate goal,
goal,
but we are very far from that because in order to run NPM or NPX or other stuff, I need to install Node.js. And on
And on
Linux,
Linux,
PC, and Mac, there are different ways to install Node.js. Like you said, sometimes you need to brew or not brew or whatever it is. If NPM doesn't work for me for some reason, I don't know, on my M1 it didn't work because of, I don't know, compatibility issues or processor. Yarn gives as alternative, so I use Yarn as alternative. I don't need to use both.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay?
So this we need to break down in steps. So first of all, the first step is, okay, what do I need? What are my requirements? What is the first step? What do I have to accomplish? How do I organize the code on my computer? These are all really important questions. Okay? What tools do I need to install? Like Xcode, of course, and then you realize it's about 12 gig download. It will take ages, and sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah. So it takes time, but you know, it's a good effort, and I want you to, of course, continue with this because I need you to have iOS working, and everybody else who will take that task, I would like them finished. So next week at some point we will have a short updates on probably next Thursday with everyone, including the guys online and the guys here in the room. I want to see your stuff up and running, you know. So please learn from this process. Okay, ask the questions, ask for clarifications, talk to the people. Don't spend half, you know. If you are getting stressed, close the computer, go home. Or if you are at home, go out. You know. Any last minute questions? Any comments?
I would have to go far for that. Just give me a second.
Okay.
Yeah, that I talked about. I went on React Native, so yeah. Okay, so I do know that I need to link on React Native. I have several tabs I need to run on.
That's the great website. So you are on the right website.
Yeah.
Okay. But what are you linking libraries?
Yeah, no, that's one of the things I was reading about. I'm not gonna.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you know, before we get to the linking libraries, you know, we need libraries. And some auto-linked, some are not auto-linked. That's a complex another set of issues, but we are not there yet. That will come later on. Okay? But see, this is a great page because you are using a thing called Next or React Native CLI. Do you know which one I be using? In AIC project?
No, I gotta know.
No. So if I don't know which one I'm using, which instruction set I'm going to follow? This one or this one? So I can do two things, okay? I can do one, then do the other. I have 50% chance. Maybe if I do this, it will mess up this, so this one will never work. I can spend 6 hours trying all that to discover I didn't need to do that at all because somebody tells me, we are not doing that, we have another way of doing it. So again, waste your time, ask the questions, ask the clarifications. If I want to set up development environment which you do, you're on the right page, and the first question is, what's our approach? What is this? What is that? Why are we using this one? We are using this one, by the way. So we are using this one, not this one. Why are we not using this one?
Isn't it because we use React Native?
Yeah, but this is also React Native. It says React Native and support. Very important. Yeah. Sorry, what was your question?
So like my question was just more like with this, couldn't I just test out which one I have installed? Like I know I could try to, for example, research Like, how do I know if I have Expo CLI versus React Native CLI?
Yeah, but these are good questions, okay? And sometimes there is an easy answer. So what version of Node.js I have, Node.js dash version or something like that, there you go, answer that. This hard.
Okay.
There's no one line of code, because what we did, actually, we did use Expo to start with, then we kicked it out. For some reason. So there are extra stuff in this project, but we are not using it. We are using it, but not in the... Oh my God. Somebody built this Expo in order to help new developers to make their life easier. Yes. But we don't want to make your life easier. We want to make... Yeah. So why would you use the easy route?
Yeah. I've mentioned all of this. Then Node came back. I did read about it, and I did read that sometimes it might be because, as you said, I shot myself in the foot with copying that yarn file. And that's basically what I read. So my question for that is, I'm pretty aware that I probably need to purge all of this and restart from the beginning. Would you say I should purge everything, or would you say I should try to fix it? But I feel like I just went on wrong foundations from the start.
He loves to delete stuff, He deleted Ubuntu 6 times already, and he's probably going to go home and delete it again, okay? Well, guys, again, it's a good question, and it's a common sense, okay? We need to get our development environment set up properly, okay? So if I try to install Node.js version 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 17, and then half installed, half not installed, I have 6 versions of NPM, so 3 don't work, 5 work, and so on. And then I try NPM and I see crazy crap, and I try to purge all the NPM and it doesn't work. If I messed up that bad, yes, I need to restore, okay? Because there's no way I can help you. So, but this is, when people say something stupid, and then they dig themselves deeper by going on. Okay, we all done it. I think we'll have a friend who was doing it with somebody. Just keep digging. Okay. So when stuff doesn't work, don't keep digging. Okay. Fix the terror. Don't go on. Okay. If you can't fix the terror, don't do 50-50. Don't ask the audience. Call your friend. Okay. Call your friend, get somebody to help you out with that, because if you keep digging deeper, you're going to create more and more mess. So, if the issue, what she has is she broke the code of mobile app. So let's say she deleted iOS app folder. Oh my God, I deleted by accident. Yeah, you can restart that. So that's easy. You just delete the whole folder, get clone again, you restart that. That's not the problem. Sometimes you completely destroy the database, drop the database and put in the new version. Okay? You don't have to start from scratch, from I need to buy a new laptop.
Yeah, no, that's not what I'm asking. I was just wondering, like, should I just purge my whole mobile folder? Try to do it like
Node.js working for you. If you type Node.js version, is that working for you?
Yes,
is NPM working for you?
No, NPM is not working.
Okay, so if you go to the folder, this mobile folder, and say NPM installed, that's not running the code.
Well, if I run it, is it going
to you are in your terminal, okay? So can you delete that React Native run iOS? In your terminal last line you have Click on
Click on
that.
that.
Delete.
Delete.
Okay.
Okay.
npm
npm
install.
install.
It's also very slow. I forgot to say.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
look
well, look
at
at
the
the
icon
icon
at the
at the
bottom.
bottom.
She's running everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
npm is
npm
working.
is working.
It's
It's
brilliant.
brilliant.
It's
It's
fine.
fine.
I just saw it
Just saw it
working.
working.
Now
Now,
this is
this
what I
is what I
covered in our last session about the versions.
Yeah.
This is the
This is the
versions
versions
issue.
issue.
So you have to check on the top of the line. Why is it not doing this? Okay, but anyway, guys, I think we had enough. We are 20 minutes past. So well done, Lorna, for the effort. Lovely presentation. Next week we are doing crude, so that will be fun. And as I said on Thursday, all of you are presenting hopefully completed tasks and so on. So please ask questions. No pressure whatsoever. Even if you don't manage to do it, doesn't matter. Guys, have a nice one. Bye bye.